stride slide, step to push. It gives us most of the field to work to. Now it's right-handed bunting the ball as a push, left-handed bunting the ball as a push. The key is to get it more on the grass. Obviously, we'd like to keep it away from the pitcher, but even in suicide, that'll work. But the push bunt technique is used as a suicide technique for us. Next, remember that faking the bunt at times when you're taking pitches is an extremely important ingredient. We want the first and third baseman to understand that we do have a bunting game. Each offensive player has a bunting game. We don't want them to be able to play well behind the bag. We don't want them to be able to take the ground ball in the hole away from us. We want to dictate to those guys. And the old axiom, it pays to advertise, is very much the case as baseball players. Each should show bunt occasionally. That scouting report should say, hey, that guy will show bunt, or he'll bunt the ball. He'll make a concerted effort to bunt the ball for the base hit. When we learn to bunt the ball for the base hit, we're also able to use the bunt base hit to take away our weakness. If I'm an onside hitter and I really have a weakness to the breaking ball, then learn to bunt that breaking ball. Remember, we're going to get the type of pitch we want. We're going to get it in our rhythm. Learn to bunt your weakness. What I can't hit, I can learn to bunt. I can be a threat, look for that pitch, take it away from that guy. He no longer has an out pitch for me. In addition, when we come to the ballpark every day, baseball is not a sport played in an incubator. It's played outdoors where conditions change from day to day. There are days in this ballpark at Allie P. Reynolds Stadium the winds are blowing in 35 miles an hour. There's very little power opportunity. You must be able to hit the ball the other way. The grass is wet. The bunting game just screams to be able to be executed at that time. Get the bunt down, use the bunting game when weather and wind conditions are such where it's not a great day for hitters. We've discussed the walk and how important it is to team offense. The bunt is equally important, that's obvious. Now we move back a little bit more to the individual and how he approaches his offensive game. It's important to time the fastball, take it away. It's one of the real secrets of hitting. It's called rhythm adjustment. Rhythm adjustment is kind of difficult to define. It involves two really critical elements. One of those is timing. And the word timing for us at Oklahoma State merely describes when do we start our stride. The lead foot on the hitter, the first gear in our sequential unlocking of body parts to maximize bat speed at point of contact. That's one of our key definitions. That stride is called our timing mechanism. When do we start it? Very few people understand it. But once we start it, we've started what we call the total tempo of the swing. Once the stride is started, second gear back knee trigger happens, the lever assembly forms, positions itself in a lag position, and then we fire the barrel. Gears 1, 2, 3, and 4 represent from the stride until contact. It represents the term tempo. This tempo, inclusively, is 12 to 15 milliseconds, hundredths of seconds. So obviously we're talking about a very short period of time. What happens if we don't time the ball properly and we're early on our timing is the tempo gets loose and we lose bat speed and power. What happens when we're late on timing is the tempo gets too tight and the swing is a muscular spasm type thing that takes away bat control. Rhythm adjustment involves both timing and tempo and how it affects tempo. The key to hitting then is to understand when do I start my stride in relationship to when the pitcher releases the ball. Let's think about three different pitchers we'd all recognize. One, Nolan Ryan, and let's say he's throwing 95 today. At 95 miles an hour, you don't need a radar gun. You can hear it. It sizzles. But also, when do I start my stride in order to arrive on time? Pretty critical issue. I may have to start it as soon as Ryan's arm shows up above his shoulder. Before he actually releases the ball, I must start my stride in order to have a good enough tempo to get to the ball on time to be able to drive it with authority. It's obvious that once hitters learn how to time fastballs and arrive on time, that they can hit the 95-mile-an-hour fastball. But let's say the next pitcher is Tom Seaver, and today he's only throwing 85. And as Seaver winds up and throws, that 85-mile-an-hour fastball, I can see that right out of the hand. Maybe a foot out of the hand, I'm going to start my stride. That's when I time Seaver's fastball. And as soon as I can time it, if the hitting machine, if the Oklahoma State hitting machine is executing, if we're fundamentally sound, if we understand tape number 1 and tape number 2, and we can make this rhythm adjustment to Seaver's fastball and arrive on time, mechanically, we're in rhythm with it, we're going to drive it at 85. Let's say it's 2 foot out of the hand today. We made that adjustment. Now Tommy John comes along, and we know he's kind of a pusser, and his best fastball is 75 mile an hour. TJ humps it up there. You're saying, well, I can't start my timing mechanism on the Ryan before it's released or on the Seaver shortly after it's released, so I've got to see the ball 15 foot before I start my stride to get in rhythm with Tommy John's 75 mile an hour fastball. This is the easiest way I can explain rhythm adjustment. We make a timing adjustment that allows the rhythm to fall in line with the velocity of a fastball ranging from 95 to 75. We got to be able to make it quickly. We got to be able to make it from the on-deck circle. We got to be able to make it after one pitch. It goes back and tells us another reason that we're able to take a pitch every now and then is just to do what? To establish a rhythm adjustment. I take pitches a lot early in the ball game with my hitters. Sometimes we say, Oklahoma State, today we're going to take a strike right through the lineup. Not just to create discipline, but to create a rhythm for that guy's fastball so that when we get an opportunity to score with men in scoring position, we'll be in rhythm with it. We'll begin to take that fastball away. In order to do this, you've got to overcome the two fears that hitters have. One, you have a fear of failure. We all do. We're afraid we're not going to get it done, and mom and dad not going to be happy with us. But more importantly, we're afraid to really flow into the ball, flow to the hole as we call it, because we're afraid we're going to get hit. We can't flow to the ball relaxed in rhythm on Nolan Ryan at 95 if we're afraid we're going to get hit. If we have to see where it's going to come and if it's going to hit us before we time ourselves, then we have no chance. So you have to overcome fear of failure and fear of pain. That's quite obvious. Now, if we're an Oklahoma State hitting group and we're going to go out there and we're going to take a pitch to get into rhythm, well, maybe we get behind in the count, okay? It's a two-strike situation. What do? I tighten the rhythm. I concede to the fastball. I quit trying to go out there and jump all over that fastball, and I'll tighten that rhythm and I'll concede to the fastball, and maybe I'll be a little closer to slider rhythm, maybe 4 or 5 mile an hour slower, so that my mechanics are exactly the same. The hitting machine's working exactly the same. It's just timed slower by making a rhythm adjustment, and now that pitch may go the other way. That breaking ball I took until I got 2 strikes, I'm in rhythm with, and I may hit it hard with 2 strikes where I've taken it up until that point. So being able to deal with the 2-strike stroke gives me a chance to enhance discipline as I get into the count. Now, what's the hit and run? Hey, the hit and run is what? It's just a rhythm adjustment. Coach says hit and run, I don't change the angle of the bat. I don't change what I'm doing. I use exactly the same mechanics. I just tighten the rhythm. I tighten the rhythm 10 feet. My mechanics get there. I'm late to the ball. I hit fastballs the other way. It's the easiest thing in the world to learn how to do if you understand timing, tempo, and rhythm adjustment. 2-strike swing, hit and run become a part of it. Situational hitting becomes a part of it. Let's think. There's a man at second, nobody out. What's the rule? The rule is get him to third. And you can do it by 1 of 3 ways. You can drag, you can push, or you can hit a ball behind him. Well, we don't want to make it a hit and run because we're committed to swing, but we can, with a man at second, nobody out, mentally say it's a 2-strike situation. Coach Ward wants me to tighten my rhythm. By tightening my rhythm, I enhances my chances of hitting the ball the other way. If I don't get a base hit and I get a ground ball to second, I get a guy to third with 1 out. That's situational offense. That's the big time. Men at first and third, situational hitting means I may push bunt or drag, but with men at second and third and the infield back, a ground ball scores a run. What don't I want to do with men at second and third? I don't want to pull the ground ball to third. I want to hit a ball to the second baseman and score a run. Or I want to look up in the zone, get a ball to the outfield and hit a sacrifice fly. That's thought process. Rhythm adjustment allows you to be able to use the bat from chalk to chalk. Use all the field, hit the situations in relationship to runners, deal with pitchers in relationship to velocity and stuff. It's the key. It's the secret.